Are we on? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Microphone check. Lights. Cameras. Hit me. This is swanky. This is lifestyle. This is culture. Welcome to the social center of everything culture. Culture Daily.
Thank you very much. Anyway, sorry about that. You know how they do it, right? You know, has anybody wondered what pilots really say when they are about to? All of them. Two people that are very funny with the things they do. Doctors, how they write. You can never tell the prescription. Yep. You can never read a doctor's prescription. It's only a pharmacist that can read what the doctor wrote
all
down.
the time.
Yes. And then also to pilots and how they talk. You know, it's like they put the microphone in their mouth when you're speaking, and then the inflections are all the same. You know, they go the same way. Anyway, it's all good though. But don't forget, discover a world of innovation, a world of luxury, a world many of us dream about owning. A world called Bang & Olufsen. I'll tell you what, you can find it because it's a true brand in the ever evolving realm of high-end electronics that you might love to own. Am I hearing myself? You can find Bang & Olufsen in the Atlantic Tower, Liberation Road, right here in Accra. Now, where each passing day, month, year, a variety of jewel-worthy, high-end electronic gadgets like, home theater speakers, headphones, TV sets, and soundbar products.
You know, remember you have that stubborn child.
What?
Who doesn't want to keep quiet?
That's what's happening right now.
Learning his experience. Hey,
I'm confused.
I'm hearing certain things in there, and I'm asking myself, like, where is it coming from? Anyway,
what's going on?
We'll move on real quick. So this weekend, EDM is also happening. You can't miss out on it. EDM at the Untamed Empire. That's the venue. It's 2 days, 28th and 29th of October. You have to be there. Face painting, photo booth pictures, video games, art installations, cultural exhibitions, plenty stuff happening right there at EDM this weekend. Now, if you want to get access to EDM, it's very simple. Just dial *714 *500 hash, *714 *500 hash to get your ticket. So you can get it from Airport Shell, Starbite, Pinkberry, Cupcake Boutique, Lemus, Accra Mall, and City FM as well. You can't miss it, all right? It's probably brought to you by, I can't say, but anyway, City FM and City TV is sponsoring the event. So that's EDM this weekend. Also, inside Gomwa, Gomwa has got like plenty towns, right? But Gomwa, I think Gomwa Fete. This one, yeah. This one is Oktoberfest. It's a beer festival. There is no beer. That is why we've been drinking all the beer. So drink all the beer whilst you're on earth, all right? Because in heaven there's no beer. It's this weekend. It starts from 27th to 29th. It's going to be a big jam. We will be there as well. 3 Music will be there. It's going to be big. I nearly said... Anyway, if you want to get more information, just call 0551 30 58 91. But also the bigger one, or the biggest one, is this weekend as well. Again, on Saturday at Beehive Just Vibe School. We are all going there to celebrate have a brunch there with our friends, family, people, and all the guests who were live on the show as well. The Just Vibe season 1 just ended, so it's going to be very lit. Proudly brought to you by 3 Music and spearheaded by Isilfa herself. It's all good. Now, this morning, on the lighter side, what did your teachers do to you when you spoke vernacular in school? Do you remember? Did your classmate point out to you and say, she spoke vernacular? You are speaking teacher, you are speaking vernacular because you spoke Gan, because you spoke Tree, because you spoke Fanti, because they heard you, but nobody punished you when you spoke French and English. Isn't that weird?
I also have a question for our teachers. Why were they always insulting us with Saskatchewan when really Saskatchewan was a province, or is a province in Canada?
Oh my days.
And why did they keep asking us who Toronto you by mistake? What did Canada do to them? I also need to find out.
In addition to that, why were they insulting us in local language?
Yes.
But when we spoke local language for the right reasons, we were punished.
Yes.
This is very interesting. Anyway, this morning's
colonization.
What? Colonization.
Yeah, that's the answer. It's the answer to it. The short answer is colonization.
We are honored to have Dr. Campbell. She's a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana School of Linguistics.
Please don't.
She's here with us. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Jay. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. You know, I mean,
Yes, John, how was it?
yeah,
John,
fine.
Yes, she called him John, and we are all like, okay.
People know your Ghana
I'll
card.
call you John.
Yeah.
People have your Ghana card.
Because we come from Kiddie Time
I've
Movements.
conformed now.
Oh, don't conform. We are rather coming to you for insight.
He's rebranded.
No, we are not interested.
Listen, Shutters rebrand. Do you get me? Shutters rebrand. Samini rebranded. You understand? Shutter rebranded. J rebranded. You understand? The Shutters. Do you get it? Shutters rebrand. You understand? Yeah, they know what I'm talking about. So here we are today. Look at us. Strong and still living. It's all good though. Anyway, so one more time, welcome to our studio. Now, we've had this conversation in various quarters, you know, different dynamics to it, and it's been quite interesting the kind of insight that we have, even we ourselves have brought up. At one point in time, we even spoke about how language in our music has created tribal lines to the point that even certain artists that speak certain languages with their music don't get the same clout as certain other languages. If I'm going to be very,
Blunt.
Well, I didn't want to say that, but anyway, let me just say it. If I'm going to be blunt and say it as it is, I was trying to sugarcoat a little bit. But an artist that probably does, you know, something in Ewe, or how do you say Ewe?
Ewe.
Ewe.
Please don't listen to what Dempsey is saying here.
If
If you value your career,
My producer is value French.
if you value your career, don't
How you say it again?
Ewe.
Ewe.
You hear the
Ewe.
phonetics?
Wow.
Okay.
Ewe. Yes. If I hear you say Ewe, so why do we say Ewe then? Or just the English?
Yes, we're fooled by the spelling.
Oh my days.
So we pronounce it like we're pronouncing an English word or even any of our other local languages. But because we don't have knowledge about Ewe, we don't know that that's V in the middle. It's not actually a V, you know.
Okay, so has it got? I know I've cut my question though, but has it got a way it is actually written or spelled?
In Ewe orthography, yes. So if you learn Ewe, there's a way to represent that sound between the A's.
So what happened to us not writing it the way it's supposed to be written?
Because we are using English orthography, you're using English letters to represent the sounds. And English doesn't have that letter. So the closest is the V. So that's, or the W.
So why weren't we taught how to pronounce the actual thing?
I suppose if you studied Ewe in school, you would have been taught it. So the Ewe speakers know it, the Ewe students know it, but non-Ewes would have to go the extra mile to learn it.
It's interesting you say taught ever in school, because as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I can remember, the two languages that were taught in Ghanaian language were either Gan or Chi or Akan.
Right.
University primary started. Well, we had Ewe, and then they stopped it.
No, most schools.
And now I'm to confirm your point.
Yeah,
I'm saying that even in an instance where there was Ewe class, it was stopped.
It was stopped,
and there were people who had to choose either to go and learn Ga or
Chi.
And be beaten for not knowing
like me,
how to.
like me sitting in Ga class, I don't speak Ga till today. It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
But I was the guy chopping last in Ga class.
Yeah.
So okay, wow. This is so basically we were taught the wrong thing. We were taught the wrong thing because the right thing is not Ewe.
No, it's not. It's not.
So
But I wouldn't say we were taught the wrong thing. I mean, how do you teach something that you yourself do not know? So a lot of the people who say Ewe are not native Ewes. So they're only saying what they heard. But strangely enough, some native Ewes still say Ewe, but that's because they are accommodating to us who don't know how to pronounce it properly. So it's a problem that feeds off of other problems. Yeah.
very interesting. Okay, so then let me just drill it down to that big question of the moment. That what have we lost, in your own opinion and context? What have we lost by not by not teaching or prioritizing our local languages, when we were growing up and when we were in our early, childhood or our early educational stages? What have we lost as the Ghanaian? Because it clearly looks like we have looked down on what we have,
Right.
if I can say that. But what do you think we've lost?
Well, you're right. English has been prioritized over Ghanaian languages in almost all spheres of life, especially in the educational system, where the medium is English. Even though our own language policy, the government's language policy, says that we should use the Ghanaian language dominant in the area from class 1 to class 3 as the medium of instruction.
It says the Ghanaian language should be dominant.
The Ghanaian language that is dominant in the area where the school is found should be the medium of instruction, so that a class 1 teacher, when they enter the classroom, if let's say they're in Kumasi, they should be speaking to the children in Tree and teaching them like the numbers
up until class 3.
Up until class 3. That's the official policy.
This is news to us.
For me.
Yes,
this is news to us.
As I can see by your reaction, it's not enforced. In fact, the opposite was enforced, as you were saying. People got punished for speaking, vernacular, which is also a misnomer.
You are telling me that. So
were you in the check?
As
MC Salvador on the mic.
no, you are saying that. So, for example, I was born in Accra.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I schooled in Accra.
Yes.
According to the policy, right, which is supposed to be enforced, I should have been taught Gan, or I should have been given instructions.
No, even if you are in Accra and then maybe you are in Teshi, then you should be taught in Gan. If you are in Kisiman, which is predominantly Ewe, you should be taught in Ewe.
So
if you are
basically the area where you are
taught,
yes.
So you are in
closest proximity.
Yes. So whatever they're teaching you, whether it's science or maths, addition, whatever, they would use Gan to teach you.
Wow.
So instead of saying 1 + 1, they'll say, akutu komeni inhawe komeke fita here nye bafi. That kind of thing. And there's a lot of research to back it up that if you teach children in their home language, they understand it better.
Jesus Christ.
Copious amounts of research. But again, this is where there's always the gap between policy and enforcement. So when laws are being made, when policies are being made, policymakers rely on research. What's out there in terms of practice is different, because again, they face a lot of resistance, even from parents. So parents feel like they're sending their children to school to learn English because English is more valuable to them. I mean, and can you blame them? You look around and everything is English. The parliamentarians are speaking English.
Chiefs
are speaking English. The radio, TV, everywhere. I mean, we are speaking English, right? So English is dominant, and for parents who themselves are not too proficient, they want to make sure that their children have that advantage. So they don't understand that they will send them to school, and school is almost equated to English, and then the teacher will be speaking to them in Tree or Ewe or whatever. So parents push back even when they see that that's what's happening, and then of course the teachers too will conform. So I don't think I even answered your question about what we have lost. We lose so much. I mean, culture, history, they're all transmitted through our local languages, right? So the more we lose these languages, the more we have children growing up who don't speak their local languages, the more of our culture and our history we are losing, and who's going to transmit that to the next generation? That's the problem. And of course, we lose. We don't have young people who have a good grasp of concepts in maths, science, technology, the things that will move the nation forward, because the language is a barrier for them. It's not that they are not smart, it's just that they have to do extra work, because now they have to try to understand a foreign language, when you could have said it in a language that they speak perfectly well and they would have understood it just fine.
Which probably describes the concept better.
Exactly.
Now, policy, education, and the processes of learning. That's one thing. But I also want to speak to the social, the behavior of our communities, of how we transitioned from a colonial state and the value we placed on English language as how do I say it, a measure of being favored by being not even intelligence, of being favored and compatible with our colonizers, and the value that is perceived to have been carried on even after colonization. Because historically, it's like, if you can speak the English, blah blah blah, you are more serviceable to the white man. So it became desirable. Now that is over, we are no longer under the thumb, technically, of in that same scenario. We carried on that perception, which I think feeds into the parents who, chene brofo, because in some way that adoration of brofo must mean he is worthy or she is worthy, exists.
Or more learned,
right? How do you think, even before you make it into school, this perception problem of the languages in our whole societies. School is just one place where we use it to indoctrinate younger minds. How do we address, I'm not asking for a one button solution, but what are your ideas around how we can, as a community, bring our minds back to value our local languages, rather than, even in our corporate world, English is still the green light and everything else is frowned upon. How do you think as a society we come back to that faith in our own language?
Well, by using our languages more, by passing our languages on to our children. So at the individual level, you should speak your language to your child every opportunity you get, even if you and your spouse don't speak the same language. And that's one of the hindrances towards using the local language in the home, because the parents themselves don't have a language in common. But they will still pick it up if only the one parent speaks the language to them. So I think charity, they say, begins at home, right? So I think parents speaking the language to their children, to their nieces, nephews, there's this perception now that the children don't speak Ghanaian languages, or you'd automatically speak English with a child, even if you wouldn't do that with an adult. You would assume the adult understands some the Ghanaian language, but with children it's just straight to English. So I think it starts with the children, and then also when they look outside of the home, when they look at the community, they need to see the Ghanaian languages being used in more spaces, more areas. So on TV, we could dub some of the cartoons using the local languages. I was in South Africa, and these popular cartoons had been dubbed into Zulu and other South
You know why I probably
languages.
rubbing his eye, because the last dubbing that we did for the telenovelas,
they go well. Because they do the same thing for the telenovelas, right?
It's very popular, isn't it?
Yeah, but we don't think it should be on TV in the first place.
Which one?
The telenovelas.
The telenovelas.
Yeah, those things are just.
I mean, if it's cartoons
disaster.
and it's like predominantly Ghanaian, Ghanaian created and all of that, and then they're using our local language, is fine. We just don't believe in the dubbing where they are going to pick, a foreign material and then now dub into our local language.
See, cinema captures
making us
more.
lose
The creativity
and the
of
local content of it.
And cinema captures
I see where
more
you're
than just visuals. Cinema captures culture, captures various behaviors,
So it will be a
and
conflict in
the
there.
things we are watching, translating what some
American-
Hispanic family is doing on how they marry and translating to tree. It's a cacophony.
doesn't
It's
cover,
nonsense.
you
understand?
what is so,
I get you.
There's no equal. There's nothing after the equals to. If it was a calculator, it would be error, because the culture you are capturing
and what we are dubbing
what's
It
it
doesn't
called?
feed into our Ghanaian culture.
Linguistic relativity, is that it?
Yeah.
When I say
yeah.
Akpe now, it means 1,000 times gratitude. Akpe,
Akpe is.
which is 1,000 in numerically in Ewe. And so when I say Akpe now, I'm showing gratitude. That's how much gratitude I'm telling you, instead of just saying thanks,
Right.
which is a representative word. But when I say Akpe now, it means I'm giving you 1,000 folds
the
of gratitude,
thing,
which is 10 times bigger than thanks.
that's one.
Imagine capturing that in a telenovela.
Yeah.
You get the mixed bag.
Capture the emotion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Let me take it to now. Okay, so you deal with students. I mean, mature students.
Yes.
What is the interest? How is it like? Are you getting a lot of people interested in wanting to come back to learn the local languages, or within the school space, people looked at, for example, I mean, back many years ago, as if I'm so old like that. Anyway, I
71?
I 62. I'm 45. I was there when the last bomb hit the Hiroshima. was bombed. visual art students were facing the same thing, where the courses were looked down. They look like you just came to play in school. You are playing with clay. I mean, what are you doing and all that. Shouts to those who are now the science students who are now cooking jollof on IG. I know shady, right? But what is it like now within the school space, education system, that people who are they stereotyped in any way? Are they looked down on? Are they look like they're not serious? Or and the interest? Do you get more people now wanting to learn these local languages after many years of missing out?
Sadly, no, it hasn't changed. So the stereotype is still there that if you're studying a local language, then it means you are not smart enough to do, a better subject like maths or science or English. So straight from secondary school, at the secondary school level, the Ghanaian language is an elective. So here you don't have to do it. So those who do it are stigmatized, and even sometimes some of their teachers try to discourage them. Oh, but why do you want to do fancy? Where are you going with fancy? No, you should do government and elective maths or something. So it hasn't changed, and all the way to the university. So I teach in the linguistic department, and we offer courses in Ghanaian languages. And it's actually a core course at a certain level. So once you're in that year, you have to take the course. However, we also recognize that there are about 50 languages in Ghana. We don't offer all of them. So if we don't offer your Ghanaian language, you can take English. And guess what? Most of them, even those who speak Ga, Ewe, Akan, the courses that we teach, they all go and register for English instead. Yes, so it still has that stigma of this. Yes, they understand that their languages are heritage languages. It's a thing of pride, but it's not seen as a thing of profit. That goes for English. So unfortunately, it doesn't get any better the higher you go.
So wow, this has really fallen hard on me.
So our local languages have no place in society, basically, apart from the basics of communicating with each other. It doesn't fit into commerce.
So I was going to ask about
it. Doesn't fit into
career. They don't see beyond the education.
So exactly. Bit. So it might have started as a language problem, but it's now becoming a perception. It's now growing as a perception problem we are suffering from. Because if you go and become a whatever infante or ever and Ga, what do you do? Don't go work for bank. Or do what? The only person in the banks who wants to speak a local language to use the IVR system. So I can. That's the only time you hear Ga in a bank. or no, correct me if I'm wrong. It's funny, right? Yeah, but that's the only time you call a mobile network, which is supposed to serve everybody in the whole country, is when the IVR is asking you if this is your language, press it. Because it assumes everybody who is calling them must speak English, which is probably not the fact, because majority of the people in Ghana probably don't speak English that well enough to interact with that system. So it should be a local language on the reception, that if you want to open some for me, I want. But we've you know what I'm saying, but it's inside out.
Does the multiple languages in the country also serve in itself as a threat to being able to use it to enter these markets as Cyril speaks, where we reach a point where corporate Ghana can actually accept the local language and then communicate in that fully?
I think that's the excuse that people have been using for a long time. Oh, we have so many languages, so which one are we going to choose? So let's go with English. And then also, like you said, there's some kind of ethnic rivalry going on, subtle amongst us. So we all know that Akan is the dominant ethnic group, and Tree is the lingua franca, is a language of wider communication. If you meet someone and you don't understand their language, you do either Tree or English, mostly Tree. And so there's this sense that if you choose one language and Akan is the most obvious choice, then it's like you're elevating Akan above the other languages, and that's going to lead to those other languages becoming even more in not valued in society. So then it doesn't help those other languages. So there's also resistance to elevating one language above the others. So in a sense, yes, it would have made our jobs so much simpler if we were a homogeneous country in terms of ethnicity. But there's also a lot to be found in diversity. You know, we don't all have to be the same thing, do the same things, wear the same clothes. So it's good to have diversity in culture, in language, and so on. So I don't think that's something that we should wish away or we should view as a problem.
The quality and the type, the language, let's say tree, for example, by chance, over the years, has it changed, evolution of the language, or we still have been able to maintain the original authentic tree that was probably spoken many, many years? Now that, I wouldn't say that it's going to extinct, but the other languages, the other one that we don't really talk about.
Well, languages change all the time, and all languages change all the time. So this authentic tree that you're talking about of 100 years ago, that tree was not the tree that was spoken 200 years prior.
Okay.
So languages are evolving all the time, and there's really no such thing as an authentic language.
Okay.
At one time, synchronically, you have different dialects. You may have different dialects of languages. Languages may be spoken differently by people in different regions, perhaps by different age groups. Those are just dialects. Okay, but the language itself, as people are using it, is authentic. Although the older people will say things like, "Oh, they don't speak the language well anymore. They don't understand the language well." But I bet you their grandfathers were saying the same thing to them. Yeah, because language just changes. And if you look at a language like English, where we have a long history. I mean, think about Shakespearean English. Nobody is saying "thou art the one" and that kind of thing anymore. Exactly. So that has changed. It doesn't mean that the English we are speaking now is not authentic. So it's the same with the Ghanaian languages. We just don't have a long historical record to show you that, what we are speaking now that you think is authentic. Well, in 100 years time it's going to be different.
I understand when you said that English is the first thing that we speak to children, and then also you saying that you're supposed to teach children in the dominant local dialect of that vicinity or that area, right? Do you think that implementation is possible? Right, time has passed. Like a lot of water has run under the bridge. But do you think that we can go back to that? Because for all you know, a child that we think is quote unquote slow or not as intelligent just needed that foundation to push them to be more confident in class, or to want to open up to speak, or maybe interact with friends and all of that.
No, I don't think it's too late at all. I think we can go right back to what the research has shown works and actually implement it. It's going to be difficult to change people's perceptions, especially parents' perceptions, because they could easily just switch schools if they think that this school is not providing what I'm paying them to provide. And schools are businesses. Principals, headmistresses want the students to stay. Yeah, but and I think it's much easier to implement in areas where there's only one language spoken. So the rural areas, or even big cities that have monolingual culture, like let's say Takrady, where almost everybody speaks Fancy. Right? So those are areas where I feel like there's no excuse at all, except for this, like Cyril was saying, colonization of the mind, where we think that English is the only way to move forward. So no, I don't think it's too late at all. I mean, this is being done in other places, so it's possible. If we've lost one generation, it doesn't mean that we need to keep losing.
Is the situation worse? Okay, sorry. Is the situation worsening? As the years go by, with this issue of second-handing our, if I can say, our forcing our
our heritage.
Our heritage.
It is getting worse. I mean, if you think about your own upbringing when you were children, weren't you speaking your Ghanaian language to your friends in your neighborhood, to your parents? But then right now, if you think about your friends or your children's friends, those under 10, most of them speak only English. Even if they understand the Ghanaian language, you barely hear them speaking back.
To the extent that some children will not even respond to you if you're
speaking. Should a child or kid be caned because he or she couldn't speak proper English? I mean, that's
psychologically. I wanted to ask, relax. They beat you, eh? I wanted to ask issues, learning limitations like dyslexia, which, you know, it's English word and English problem, and I don't know if my grandfather knew there was dyslexia when the whole of Akua was speaking away. Do you think our languages and learning in our languages could eliminate or at least circumvent such problems? Because our languages teach in a more descriptive form than in the how do I say
English.
In the English, where it's more about
a word that describes the whole thing.
What's dyslexia about it?
Monjit. What you just said, Monjit.
Yeah.
That's it.
You don't need to, like, for example, you don't need to learn. You don't need to read the word peseminkuminya to have a full understanding of it. But if I wanted to do selfish, arrogant, blah blah blah, then dyslexia is a problem. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
I kind of get what you're saying. I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm not too sure exactly what dyslexia entails. But what I know about it, it's a problem of reading. So I don't think that reading in a local language will circumvent dyslexia, because you still have to look at symbols that represent sounds, which together will make up a word. So if your brain is decoding it differently, it's kind of moving the symbols around, you still won't be able to decipher the word. So it doesn't matter that the word is in English, a foreign language that you've learned, or it's in your local language, because there are many English native speakers who are dyslexic. Okay, so they, like Americans, British people,
they speak so well, but when it comes to
that's what I was getting at. That could it be, or is there any learning to it that it is an English only problem? Because do you get what I'm saying? Because if I can read away, if you flipped away words back, you know, there's this funny meme that goes around. They flipped up English words and they're like, so you can still read it. If you still read it, you are 1% of a genius. Everybody can read it, right? So it doesn't always apply to local languages. If you flipped a bunch of tree words back and forth, upside down, inside out, it would be hella difficult to put it together.
Hella difficult.
You get what I'm saying?
Okay, I get
you get what I'm saying. But with the English language, your brain is already suggesting that word is bicycle, because your brain has seen 2 C's and a Y. You get what I'm saying? It offers itself more easily to aid you in figuring it out than our languages.
Well, I think that could just be the result of us being so steeped in English and English learning. I mean, all the books, all the materials we're reading.
So also, if you've spent the first 15 years learning tree, if they flip it for you,
exactly.
You crack it.
So I think, that would be my hypothesis, that it wouldn't be different.
So I've got 2 questions. One is crazy. I'll ask it later on when I'm wrapping up. But this first one, the students who come in to learn these languages, number one, is that they can't speak any of the language they're coming to study, or they can speak but they want to polish? I want to understand how it is like coming
at the
university level. Yes.
Okay. No, they already speak these languages. So in linguistics, we learn about the structure of languages. So, like the grammar, every language has grammar.
It's coming close to my second question.
So we learn about the structure, the grammar, the sound system. So, like how to pronounce the consonants in Ewe, and how it's produced, and so on. So that's what they are learning about the language. They're not learning to speak the language.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Has this got to do with? You know how you pronounce the Ewe again? Has it got anything got to how the Germans also have W and V swab? Even the
French.
The French as well.
The French. I think the sound of W is W.
Yeah, I mean, it's
so like double V's.
Yeah.
So I was even going to ask if maybe.
That's because it is double V's.
Maybe actually written like
it's literal.
Yeah.
It's two.
So I was going to even ask whether Evans and the French have something in common, because of maybe there's some background educational theory that we don't.
It's really simple. It's all about what symbols you choose to represent what sounds. Okay. So whereas in English we choose the W, like English W, to represent the W sound. The Germans will choose a different symbol to represent that sound, which in English will represent a different sound. So that English speakers, when they see a German word, they're really pronouncing it using their own knowledge of like English
Volkswagen.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's supposed to be Volkswagen. Yeah. It's supposed to be Volkswagen, because for the Germans the W represents the V. Okay, whereas in English the W represents the W. Okay. So yeah, it's just a matter of which symbol has a particular language decided will represent which sounds.
Talking sounds now to a bit of a tough question on this, but what is the beautiful thing about our sound structure with our local languages? Any of them, some things in there that probably would amaze us. We didn't think about it, but in learning, once you understand, hey, I nearly did something there. Once you understand the sound structure, it's even easy for you to Phonetics. Now read, I don't know, find its history.
Well, I'm always fascinated by tone, because all of our languages have tone. So the fact that my native language is Ga, so I guess I can give Ga examples. An example like be means to quarrel, and then be means to be cooked, right? To be cooked. I don't know if you can think of another example.
Maybe Baba.
Maybe.
Like when
okay, be is also
I don't know.
So you can have that.
Are you drunk? Are you looking to get drunk?
He was one who taught me, and that's one of the key things I know about Ghana.
You never heard the song?
No, that I've heard. But what you're saying is Ghana.
Is Ghana.
Yeah,
it's different.
Yeah, it's different from the area. But you talk about the sound.
Or if you have 3 words like papa and papa. Papa and papa. It's the same sound segments, but then depending on the pitch, how high you make the pitch. The word means something totally different, and that's a concept that's very hard for people who don't speak these languages to grasp. For them, if you say papa, it sounds like the same thing, because they don't use pitch to create.
So that pitch and tone doesn't exist in English, or it's not used in English.
It's not used in English for any meaningful to create meaningful words.
Okay.
We slang with it. Madam.
Yeah, that's different.
Now we look at certain countries that have, almost just maybe one main language and what it has done to them. Like maybe there's China, Chinese, Japan, Japanese, you name them, and it goes on and on. The French, France, and all that. Has that in itself? Maybe we've touched on it already, but has that in itself helped with, development, and has it contributed in any way, or it's just the fact that easy communication, which if it is easy communication, then it's fine, we can just stick to our English. But has that in any way, the fact that the Chinese speak in China they speak Chinese?
Bro, hold your handbrake. Come on, kill us all. We're all in the car.
You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. That's a tough one to answer, right? Because you're mentioning all these economies, and they're obviously big, developed economies, right?
And I don't know if language was part of the reasons why they are where they they are now. Because I see as we strive to slang like the Americans,
like they're proud of their language.
Yes, it's not even the pride of it. The literal nature of most of these words and stuff that other people use, right? Like we say ambulance. What does it mean? It's just a word that describes a thing, right? But Germans say Krankenwagen, which is sick people's
and then we see it here. People in podcast they don't wipe it off.
You understand? In where we call a kitchen a jodope, so it tells you what to do. That's where you start fire. You won't jo is fire, do is start
light
place. So the fire lighting place. So by telling you that a jodope here, you know that don't start fire here. But when you say kitchen, it's just a word to describe a place.
Yes.
I don't know, you get what I'm saying? There's no instruction to it.
There's no link.
There's no link. You have to go further to explain. This is the kitchen, so you only have to start fire here. But the moment I tell you Jodofe, there's a whole. It's more than a word. I mean,
Or a chilepe.
A chilepe.
You know that.
Water bathing place.
Yeah.
Simple. You will not come and bath at this side again.
Yeah, that's bathroom.
Yeah, that's bathroom. But when you say bathroom, it's a word to describe a place. A lot of that disconnect. What is that? And I think the question he's asking is, in other languages that have more words and use more active words like Jodofe and Chilefe and Krankenwagen and places, would learning and development be more visual, more descriptive, more easily understood than we who are forced in English to use words that are only representative of things? So if I give you the word and you've never made that initial association,
it's not iconic.
Exactly. Because no matter who you are, when I say Jodofe, sense is gone. But if you've never seen a kitchen and I say go to the kitchen, the person will just be standing there.
Charlie?
Yeah, I mean, but it's all about learning. Okay, so like you're saying, there's no iconic relationship between the word kitchen and the place where there's fire and there's cooking and all that. But English children, when they are born, they know what the kitchen is, and they associate it with fire and all those things, even though the word fire is not in their word for kitchen. Okay, but because they've been socialized with it right from the get-go, the association is there, even though it's not iconic. You can't find it in the name of the place. So I don't think that necessarily it makes a big difference.
What about in situations in the same English language where we park in the driveway and drive in the parkway?
Drive in the driveway.
You park in the driveway.
In the front of the house where you park your car is called the driveway.
And you drive in the
place called the parkway.
Oh,
it's just,
and there's that flip. I mean, the English language in itself is just
it's a lot.
That's why are we doing this?
So back to that.
Well, that's why it's so hard for children who do not speak English every day. You're not the middle class. That's why it's so hard for them
to grasp
these concepts, because it's just not a part of their everyday.
It's not their reality.
Exactly, it's not their reality. So everything has to be learned with extra effort.
Photosynthesis.
I know.
No,
right?
that's why I'm really keen on what she said about the learning in local language from class 1 to class 3. That would do a lot for
I'll just coming back to the but is it really feasible now? Is it, considering where the world has gotten to, and look, the biggest communicative language, if you can say that, is English, and everybody's talking in English. Road signs are in English. What will be the drama that will be in this country if a government that comes into power will say that they want to start off this again? Would it be a disservice to the children, considering that even road signs, learnings, markings, things, signboards, things are all being displayed in English? But yet still, it's amazing how when it comes to advertising, we are able to spend huge amount of monies in campaigns to translate.
We know the value of people's understanding.
Yes, if you understand the value of that. Thank you very much. But I want to actually
you have sense. Once in a while, then it's a fluorescent bulb is spoiling. Click, and it becomes. You have to check your fuse.
I'll check my fuse.
And then you also notice how when
it's political time.
When the British and the Europeans came, they knew to translate the Bible into a local language.
Except for the science books.
They did it quick.
I know. So,
but when we sat in the classroom to be taught maths and the rest, they insisted on English. Why?
Okay. So almost my final question: would it be easy to teach these? These foreign, and I say foreign-based subjects because they speak about things that we didn't discover. A lot of the things we didn't discover. Math is everywhere in everything we do. However, the structure of math wasn't designed by us. We may have started something by adding one orange to another orange, but when you break it down to the, you put
not
the
in Ghana,
maths.
but in Kemet, in Egypt, maths was from us. Just for a moment of pride.
From the continent.
Will it be really easy to teach these subjects, science, and all the globally accepted words, hydrochloric acid and all those things in our local language?
Yes, it will. You can paraphrase, you can explain concepts, And then a few concepts you can just borrow them whole, like hydrochloric acid if you want to, but you can paraphrase. There's an app that a friend of mine is working on. It's called Aya Prep, and it teaches maths in the Ghanaian language for secondary school, senior high school and junior high school. So it's an app. You select your language, and then it has lessons where the narrator is teaching you, things like what is it, trigonometry and calculus and probability, and it's all in the local language. So there are different videos that cover the curriculum from Form 1 to Form 3. And he found that when people who had failed WASPI several times downloaded this app and used it and rewrote it, they all passed. Yeah. Some of them even had A. Imagine going from an F to an A. Exactly. So it's possible, and it works.
So for where you sit, from the university level, have there been any, maybe in times past, have there been any proactive approach to getting this bit, that this lost heritage that we without getting the local language to be taught right from primary school at that level? Have there been any proactive measures? Have there been any activations, any stuff of such sort before we wrap up?
Not that I know of.
Would there be a reason why you think that maybe that hasn't interest?
Well, every once in a while, I remember there was a time when Professor Nana, when she was Minister of Education, she and really she wasn't saying anything new. She was talking about this class 1 to class 3 using the local language policy, but she was highlighting it, and she was going to enforce it through the various district offices, and there was an uproar. I don't know if you remember back then in the mid 2000s, there was an uproar, and this was a national uproar, and there were op-eds and articles written about why are we trying to go backward, and English is a way forward and things like that. So it's a really, really high, tall mountain to climb.
Can we climb it? Can we climb it with creative arts?
Yes, absolutely. We can. We should. I think that's also a major way in which we can do it. And I like that these days a lot of the music uses local languages.
Because we sing Nigerian music, we sing Yoruba.
Even without understanding what exactly
remember that. You hold this one for me. You hold it for me. Our time is up. As part of our learnings this morning.
Which one is?
This is one. So
are we reading in our local?
I'm not going to give.
I can read in my local language.
Okay, so let's read this. First off, just talk about our time is up. We're going now. We have to get out of here now. Just if you're on Plus FM, just 1 minute before we wrap out of here. This is which one? This one is Pepsodent. So you just say the English version. Summarize it for us, and then deliver it in
See, we have a native speaker
here. Yes.
I'll do Ewe too.
No, guys.
No, my Ewe is more comfortable than.
Okay.
You're choosing your black guys.
He's wearing Kwame Eugene's cap and covering his all right, so we'll see how we can all learn this. We'll try that. Okay, so Cyril, please, in the English version, so that we know
the whole thing.
No, I mean summarize information.
Every time we eat, sugars, food particles get stuck in our teeth, so we should brush our teeth more frequently before and after bed. Pepsodent Cavity Fighter helps us keep our dental health 10 times stronger with fortified elements like profluoride and micro calcium ingredients, sealing tiny holes and repairing our teeth. So brush your teeth day and night with Pepsodent.
It will fall down to my brother. Okay, now so tell us.
Pepsodent Cavity Fighter.
Like music like this.
Article Pepsodent Cavity Fighter and the only profluoride, micro calcium ingredients. Ukatali atronuma now ajagbagbawe abikike dabila anuma alo adun okata awonwe
As to whether he was lying to us.
Try.
I just heard click.
Pepsodent the shop store the CR then I your channel your 080020030. You mark or got a class you
do open some ancient Lenny.
Okay, so
in English,
Charlie, people are winning big on 590 mobile just by dialing *959# selecting the game of the day, be it Monday special all the way to Sunday Asida.
Okay, and you should take responsibility.
So 590 mobile at that one same. Always remember to stake responsibly, not for persons below 18 years. Okay, so
that's right.
Hey, 590 mobile, open vibe better whether for girls or girlfriend. Allo wajavi. Allo oholo allo dao 590 mobile and better ega amshamo hoge ta ne woma keep it on a hash magana ma kanya now ne gana no kotokuma ne betim ha make sure.
So you see, but you see what I gather from this, when it comes to our local language, we are able to express ourselves easier than when we have to fit ourselves into English and be afraid of not to make mistakes. But on that note, tomorrow right here on Saturday. Campbell, thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much, Doc.